Assignment 1. The reading I chose to look at is Body Tracking, Sex and Crime in Dorothy Porter's The Monkey's Mask by Rose Lucas. A key argument in this reading, talks about how, while Dorothy Porter's novel The Monkey Mask contains some genre conventions of hard-boiled crime, it also takes a twist on this and challenges some of them. So, what are the conventions of hard-boiled crime fiction? These novels are generally set in America in the urban streets of Los Angeles. They include organized crime and corruption, where the male detective is involved with the crime or criminals, and works outside or alongside the police and law alone. The detective is also pitted against the femme fatale, an attractive and seductive woman, especially one who is likely to cause distress or disaster to a man who becomes involved with her, of the novel, but is often tempted by her. Keeping with the stereotypical conventions of hard-boiled crime, the novel promises a resolution to the cases being looked at. The main character, Jill, also follows the genre convention of detecting by being an ex-policewoman who is working alone using her professional skills against establishment forces. The reading then argues how this novel goes against the known conventions, by noting that the role of the detective in this genre stereotypically has gender binaries that are challenged, such as the detective being a female lesbian. The novel also interlaces the murder mystery with desire that interrupts the detective's quest for answers and uses poetry, something that would usually not be used in this genre. The Monkey's Mask. The accepted conventions include the notion of finding a resolution to the crime. That is, we find out who murdered Mickey in the end. That the detective is an ex-cop who works against the law alone to find missing people, and that she is tempted by the femme fatale. The femme fatale being the poetry lecturer of the missing person Mickey, Dr. Diana Maitland. She is tempted by the desire of the femme fatale, becoming distracted by her job for this woman before coming to the realization of how manipulative and dangerous she is. Then we have challenge conventions. These are conventions that are not stereotypically seen in hard-boiled crime fiction. The first is the setting of the novel. Generally they are set in LA in America, whereas this novel is set in Australia, starting in the Blue Mountains before the detective moves to Sydney. The second is this novel disrupts the gender binaries. Generally, the detective would be male in this genre, whereas in this novel, the detective is female and is also a lesbian that gets tangled in a world of sexual desire, sometimes neglecting the case at hand. Finally, this novel is not written in the form of general text that this genre would be written in. It uses poetry. Poetry is generally a genre of its own, focusing on the expression of feelings and ideas, whereas this novel uses it to convey the whole story. The Big Sleep. The Big Sleep is one of the best-known novels for the genre of hard-boiled crime fiction. The reading, Body Tracking, Sex and Crime in Dorothy Porter's The Monkey's Mask discusses how The Monkey's Mask challenges some of the conventions of the hard-boiled crime genre. Although this novel follows the conventions of hard-boiled crime, as it is one of the best-known. The setting. The setting of the novel, as in most hard-boiled crime fiction novels, is set in LA in America. This is brought up in parts of the novel, such as where the detective says driving that off into one of the 100-odd lonely canyons around Los Angeles. The detective, private investigator Philip Marlowe, works alone after being fired for insubordination, and it notes when talking to the general that he always got along with bootleggers. These details show that he, like most detectives in this genre, works alone without the police and is involved with the criminals. Lastly, the femme fatale. In this novel, the femme fatale is Carmen Sternwood. She is seen as having two sides to her, an innocent, childlike side and a seductive, animalistic side. Her childlike side is shown in places of the novel, such as where she is biting her thumb when she first meets Marlowe. Carmen's second side is seen as seductive and animalistic, often seen metaphorically as a vampire or snake. One of the quotes from the book that shows this is, "She came over near me and smiled with her mouth, and she had sharp little predatory teeth, as white as fresh orange bits, and as shiny as porcelain. They glistened between her thin, too taut lips. Her face lacked colour, and she didn't look too healthy." This shows the similarity between her and a vampire. Vampires having sharp teeth and pale skin. Another couple of quotes in the novel. Carmen was crawling on her hands and knees and still hissing, and the gun pointed at my chest. Her hand seemed to be quite steady. The hissing grew louder and her face scraped the bone look. Age deteriorated, became animal, and not nice animal. Show her like a snake or another dangerous animal. These quotes from the novel, combined with the gift from the movie, shown on the screen, show how she was seen as an attractive, seductive woman that also could be dangerous and harm to any man that was involved with her. In the novel, we see this also when it is noted that she killed Rusty due to him not wanting her when she tried to come onto him.